Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to start with the chapter number 5. That is a very interesting chapter, very knowledgeable chapter. Chapter number 5, that is natural disasters. We all know that disasters are happening, and we are passing through a very great disaster called a global pandemic, coronavirus. But this natural disasters, that is coronavirus, is not a natural disaster. Natural disasters which is being disasters which are taking place inside the interior crust of the earth, like earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, cyclones. Yes, these are called as a natural disasters. So in this chapter we are going to see each and everything, that how natural disasters occurs and how it is taking place. Now, my dear students, you take your textbook in your hand so that you may come to know what things I have shared the PPT along with the textbook pages, so that you will come to know what I am explaining. But then also you have to take the textbook and sit it. The first is, on the 12th March 2011, Krishna saw the picture of a tsunami in the newspaper. After reaching school, she asked her class teacher, "Sir, I read the news about tsunami in the newspaper. How does a tsunami occur?" Sir replied, "Natural disasters are of two types. Disasters like earthquake, tsunami and volcano occur due to changes in the interior of the earth." I told you that this volcano, tsunami and earthquakes are the disasters which are happening inside the interior of the earth, because due to some shifting of the plates, due to some tectonic movements of the plates. Why? Because due to the pressure of the earth, the plates move, and so we are facing the earthquakes and volcanoes and also tsunami. So due to these changes, this type of natural disasters occur, where disasters like flood, cyclone, forest fire and drought, that is famine, occur due to the changes on the surface of the earth. These disasters are being taking place, the floods, cyclone are being taking place only because there are some changes in the surface of the earth. So first thing we are going to see about it, that is earthquake. Now, my dear students, we all know that earthquake, we have very much experience in the year 2000. Basically, it was a very massive earthquake where most the destruction was taken place at the Bhuj, right, the Kutch district. So basically it was a very much great earthquake. We will never forget it. The weak upper crust of earth suddenly experiences tremors due to the collision of plates or due to the tremendous pressure in the interior of the earth. I told you that there are certain elements are there in the interior upper crust of the earth, and so the tremors are being taking place due to the collision means that due to some breaking of the plates. You can just see over here in the textbook that how the shifting plates are there, that the plates are being broken, and so there are some terrible movements in the upper crust of the earth, and so we experiences a shaky at earth. So basically the earthquakes are taking place, and so it can also take place inside the waves also. So the waves and tremors of the earth originate from the hypocenter, which is deep below the surface of the earth. Such sudden shaking or trembling is known as earthquake. So as we experience the trembling and shaking of the earth, that is known as an earthquake. Earthquake waves are created from the epicenter during the process of an earthquake. Earthquake occur due to the internal disturbances in the earth. So we all know that earthquakes are happening due to some of the internal disturbance. I told you there are some of the tectonic movements in the plates due to shifting of the plates, due to any of the why? Because due to the potential energy or the gravitational energy force plates have been shifted inside the crust of the earth, and so we are experiencing a shaky movement in the in the earth, and so that is known as an earthquake. Then basically the waves of, you can just see the picture over here, how it has been destructed it over a lot, right? The destruction by earthquake has been taken place in many areas and many in the various parts of the world. We have experienced it, even we have experienced it. So that is one of the frightening moment for us, that this is one of the greatest natural disasters, earthquake, which is not in our hands. It is in everything is in the hands of the gods. The natural disasters is in hands of the God. So basically this type of natural disasters occurs because there are some movements in the upper crust, weak upper crust of the earth. Then the waves of the earthquake spread outward from the epicenter. Now what do you mean by epicenter? Epicenter means the place exactly above the focus on the surface of the earth, the place where these tectonic movements have been take place, their epicenter is there. Now if that epicenter is being transferred from one place to the another, the density, yes, basically the density of that epicenter becomes less in that area which it was first. For example, now if I tell that in the in Kutch Bhuj the epicenter was there, and so the massive destruction had taken place. But if that epicenter would have been taken place from Kutch to any other district, right, to any of the district, if we have been taken, that district have been the worst destruction had been taken place. So you can see that from where it originates, epicenter means where it from originates, so that is basically the earthquakes occurs. So the intensity of the earthquake is felt maximum around the epicenter. The intensity of the earthquake decreases as we move away from the as I told you, that is the intensity, how much the intensity is there. If we move from the as we move farther, the epicenter it decreases, right? The epicenter, when the epicenter moves far away, we experiences less earthquake. That means tremors are there, but we are experiencing it less. Then effects of an earthquake depends upon the intensity of the earthquake. We can measure the intensity of the earthquake and know its point of origin, that is a hypocenter, with the help of a seismograph. So we all have we all have a mathematical instruments, we also have an instrument called a seismograph. Like we can measure the earthquake, what was the original earthquake, how much point it was, right? We can say that it was 7.5 tremors, it was 4.6. So that was one of the we can measure it through the seismograph. The three main reasons are there for the occurrence of the earthquake. Now the reasons are there how and why earthquakes are taking place, and there will be some reason for each and everything. So the reason are there. The first reason, that is earthquake caused by volcanic eruption. We all know the volcanic eruptions, that is due to the very much intensity of the earth, and inside the earth crust, lot of amount of heat is being accumulated, and when the volcano erupts, there are chances of the earthquake also. The second thing, there is earthquake caused by strike slip faults. Now my dear students, what do you mean by strike slip faults? We'll just have a look over here. Strike slip fault. Strike slip fault means, now you can just see on the screen over here the normal fault and the strike slip fault. Normal fault is, you can just see that this is the land, the greener part is the land, and the downside is the upper crust of the earth. Now the normal fault is the land is totally even, right? It is not uneven, it is even. And now when the strike slip fault occurs, you can just see that the inside scale has been shifted more. Yes, has been shifted So definitely there will be, due to the shifting of that place. Yes, so basically we can say that the tectonic process in the structure of the earth crust, that the plates move from one place to the another, that is known as a strike slip fault, right? That you can just see in this picture over here. There is a normal fault, means the total land is there and the upper crust is there. The crust of the earth is being leveled but and is even, not uneven. But in the strike slip fault it is uneven, right? You can just see your earthquake is written over there. So that means that shifting of the place, you can just even see in the from the compare both the figures, that how this figure is there and how the strike slip fault figure is there. So you can easily notify that basically that slip fault has been we can see the slip, it has been slipped, the under crust of the earth has been slipped, and so due to that slipping of the up under the crust of the earth, the tectonic movements, the plates have been shifted, so trembling occurs on the earth and we experience this earthquake. So that is a strike slip fault. Then the third one, it is earthquake caused by subduction in an active subduction zone. Now what do you mean by subduction zone? Active subduction zone. Subduction zones means, now you can again you see in the picture, the oceanic crust are there, lithosphere, as you already learned in the earlier chapter. This is the mantle, this is the basically the where magma and everything is formed. The earthquakes are there. Now subduction means it is a geological process that due to the gravitational energy, right, the gravitational potential energy, one plates move under the another. You can you see this, the red thing? That means the another so one plate is moving under the another. This everything that has been under the another plate, and that zone is known as subduction zone. When one plate is moving under the another plate, a subduction zone occurs, and so when there are no place for the plates to move, definitely that trembling will be there, and so the earthquakes, there are chances of earthquakes to be occurred. So that we call as in subduction zone. You can easily see over here how the oceanic crust is there, lithosphere is there. The earthquake occurs, why? Because the subduction zone, it can be the reason, because the subduction zone, the plates have been covered from one to the another. That means all are in the line, and so they don't have that much way to pass it out. So now as give an example, my dear students. If you are in the line and if somebody pushes, then what is going to happen? Definitely everybody is going to fall. The same thing here over it there. If the plates are on one place to the another, and if some pressures have been done from the inside the crust of the earth, definitely that pressure is going to come up, and we will experience a trembling. We'll experience more trembling, and the earthquake is going to occur. So in this way we can see that how the earthquakes is being occurred over it. The second thing we are going to learn it about volcano. Now volcanoes, we all know there are certain types of volcanoes, my dear students. There are active, dormant and extinct volcanoes, right? Volcanoes refer to an opening in the earth's crust from which motion, lava, rock, fragments, ashes, dust and gases are ejected from below the earth's surface. So there is a very, very high temperature inside the crust of the earth, and so due to that heat is sprouting out, it's being ejected, and so basically what happens, volcano erupts from inside the mountain. And so there are different types of volcanoes. Volcanic eruption occurs due to the four main reasons. The first, that is the high temperature in the interior of the earth. I told you, whenever there is a high temperature inside the earth, there are chances of volcano. Creation of magma, I told you the magma is being taking place. We had already in the last chapter, the previous chapter and the third, when we were doing the lithosphere, hydrosphere, I had explained to you what do you mean by magma, right? Then creation of gases and vapor, due to the more pressure of gases and vapor, there will be. Now take an example, my dear students. In our daily life, if the pressure cooker is there, and if the cooker, that whistle is not whistling, then what is going to happen? Definitely that cooker is going to blast, right? Because that whistle is not going to, so that basically the whistle is going to blast, the cooker is going to be blast. In the same way, my dear students, here it is, if in the interior part of the earth's crust, basically if the gases are there, and there are no chances of gases to move outside, definitely they will they will sprout in from the inside of the earth. So basically what will happen, it will the gases are going to come up and it will burst it like a volcano. Then the rising of magma towards the earth's surface. So these are the different reasons for the earth. Now the magma is pushed upwards by the gases lying under the magma. Secondly, the water percolating through the cracks and opening of weak rock surface turns into the vapor. So how vapor is being turning? The water is percolating to the cracks. Now they are inside the crust of the earth, the water, how? Because some due to cracks the water comes. How? In our at homes also, if some cracks are there under upside the ceilings, there are chances of coming water from the ceiling. At the same point of time, here in the inside of the earth, if there are cracks, the inside the cracks there, the water can come, and so it forms into vapor, and this vapor is full of pressure owing to the lack of space and tries to come out with great force. I told you vapor cannot stay inside, it will come out with a very great force. So this vapor also causes magma and rise upwards. The gases present in the magma reach near the surface of the earth and erupt with a high pressure in the form of lava, ash, gases, rock pieces of various shapes and size, etc. And this is known as volcano. So that is basically known as a volcano, that with the great force and pressure it is coming out, because the gases are being collected and don't have the way to pass it out, and so they are coming out with a great force, and that basically with a heavy high temperature, that is known as a volcano. All these volcanoes residuals come on the surface of the earth and form a mountain like structure. If the amount of gases and vapor is more and the vent of the earth's surface is narrow, then the eruption is dangerous. But if the amount of the gas is less and the vent is broad and long, then molten lava comes out slowly and spread out in the surface of the earth. Yes, my dear students, that depends upon the amount of gases, how much is the force, how much is the pressure. Now if the pressure is very much fast and high, dangerous eruption takes place and it may destroy the whole land also. But if the amount of the gas, the vapor, yes, gases force is less, then what happened? Then the molten, it may come out slowly, it will pass it out like a slow stream, how the river is flowing. Like the same point of time, the lava or this volcano come out with slowly, and then it may pass through it, and so it comes out and it melts through the earth's surface. Then there are the three types of volcanoes. There is an active volcano, dormant volcano, and the extinct volcano. You can just see over here, I've given you the picture over it. Volcanoes are found in the various places in the world. There is only one active volcano in India, that is in the island of Andaman and Nicobar. Andaman and Nicobar is having the active volcano, and you can see over the picture over here how active volcanoes take place. Active volcanoes are a very high temperature, bearing a very high gases, and so they can shoot up at any point of time, having a very great force. So volcanic eruption at any place or region leads to a massive destruction in the local areas. Then you can see dormant volcanoes. We are basically it's a volcano. I told you it comes out, the gases are not that much of pressure, it comes out with a pressure, but it comes slowly down. And the extinct volcanoes, it's already being formed, and inside the volcanoes are there, but it is being formed due to the volcanoes. So in the near future it can burst it. Yeah, volcanoes. Now it's again it's a very interesting part to know that volcanoes have certain benefits too. Now you will think in mind that how volcanoes can be benefited. Volcanoes are very much dangerous to us. If it is come, then it is definitely, we all know that we are going to turn into ashes, because that the temperature of the volcanoes is very very much high. If we cannot live, right? It's is equal to the person who is going to burn it. So the same thing. So volcano have certain benefits too. The fertility of the land increases due to lava. The agriculture production is very good due to fertile land in Java and Sumatra, as it is made of lava. The potassium rich soil from the volcanic residuals helps the farmers to obtain abundant crop production. That is the main important thing. Underline, that is the potassium rich soil. Now I told you, when the small volcano gases which are moving out slowly, it may move out slowly, and then it may settle down in the surface of the earth. Now when it is being cooled out, that it is rich in potassium, and so it helps the farmers for the crop production. That ashes are being basically the residuals which are left, that is helpful for the farmers for the production of the crops. And so, and also it is being helpful. The hot water springs in the areas of volcanoes have germ killing property. We all know that the hot water springs are having the germ killing property. And so how, as now in our daily life, the coronavirus, it is being repeatedly given and telecasted in the TV, says that you drink a lot of hot water, so that why the viruses are being killed off. At the same point of time, here the same thing is that the hot water springs in the areas of the volcano are having the germ killing property, because in the 100 degrees Celsius mostly all the germs are being burnt off, because it is being boiled off. And so it may cure all the skin diseases also. And at the lower depth from the surface of the earth, certain minerals like mercury, tungsten, zinc plating, zinc, aluminum, etc. can be obtained easily due to volcano. So volcano also are being beneficial to us. It is not like that it's only destruction, but it's also beneficial to us. And so basically it is having a rich in potassium and is benefited to the farmers also. The lava that cools down inside the vent of the extinct volcano turns into diamonds. Now whenever the lava is being cooled down, and it takes many years to cool down, right? But when it's being cooled down, it will turn into diamonds with the passage of time. And that small rocks out of the volcanic eruption is known as the lapilli, which has been proved to be very useful as they can be molded easily. Yes, so lapilli, they can be easily molded, and you know that whenever it has been cooled down, it may turn into a diamond. So we know that gems and diamonds, yes, these are very very jewelries. These are made from the stones only, right? And how it is made from the stones, here you can see that so everything we are getting it from the earth's surface or inside from the earth's surface. So whatever we are enjoying the benefits now, whatever with the jewelry we are having, that is from the earth's crust only. You can just see the picture over here. The volcano is a rupture in the crust of the planetary mass object, and such at the hot lava, volcanic ash and gases to obtain from the magma chamber before the surface. That was I was reading from the picture given to you over here, right? So we all know how volcano is being taking place and how it is beneficial to us. Now we'll see the another natural disaster, and a very very big disaster, that is tsunami. Tsunami, the name comes and we are frightened over it, because it is totally destruction through water. Totally destruction through water, right? We'll just see what do we mean by tsunami. Due to the volcanic eruption or earthquake on the sea floor. Now, earthquake occurs due to the tectonic movements in the place inside the surface of the crust, earth crust, and so the earthquake are being occurring. In the same way, due to the tectonic shifting of the plates inside the sea floor, inside the sea, whenever there are high tides and oceanic waves, and when that plates inside the sea shift from one place to the another, definitely that wave of tide is going to be very much high, and it is going to come up over a very high tide and may occur in the form of tsunami, and so the tsunami is created. And so I told you, so due to the volcanic eruption or earthquake on the sea floor, high oceanic waves are created, and they are known as tsunami. They are high and unimaginable length. We all know it is very much unimaginable. We cannot even imagine how the big wave are there and how it will destroy it within a second, the whole world. Their length is approximately 700 to 1600 kilometers. This wave travel with a great speed and force. As per the normal speed of the waves, we are sometimes we are enjoying in the sea and taking bath, and so as the normal waves are coming, but we have never ever experienced and seen such a big wave, and that also of 700 to 1600 kilometer. It is unimaginable how it would be. You can just see the picture over it, how the destruction is caused, and it will lead to everything destruction throughout the whole land. By the time they reach the coast, they attain the great height and power, which causes a great destruction in the coastal areas, and it was witnessed on 11th March 2011 in Japan. We all know on the 11th March 2011 the Japan had experienced the tsunami, and it was everything was washed out in Japan. Not a single thing was left. Everything was washed out. Strong and whirling winds also create a big and strong waves. Once the storm gets over, these waves become a tall with a high wavelength which can travel a great distances. Such waves cause a great deal of destruction in the coastal regions. Hence they are known as the destructive waves. So due to the basically storms and waves, there are high wavelength, and so destruction takes place due to the waves. At times, rock falls, ice falls, or underwater landslide or slumps can generate displacement of water to create a tsunami. I told you that the tectonic shifting of the plates inside the sea floor, inside the sea, there is a displacement of water, and in that displacement of the water, the plates are being shifted. Definitely there are chances of the high tide and high wave, and that wave is unimaginable. As we have seen in the textbook, that is about 700 to 1600 kilometers. That means it is totally unimaginable, and it will come with a very high speed and destroy within a second the whole land. Then as we have experienced is the tsunami. We have seen it in the experience. We have not experienced it. We have seen it in the news. We have seen in the television sets. May we not experience tsunami ever in our lives. We'll see the next thing, the next floods. Floods and tsunami. Tsunami is a different, and floods can occur due to the heavy rains. Now, as we all know, the floods in Kerala, which had occurred in 2019, and floods in Uttarakhand, it was in 2013. The floods in Uttarakhand and Kerala, that was the most massive flood ever, and everything was washed out. It was you can just see the picture over the Uttarakhand, Uttarkashi, the Kedarnath temple, and everything was washed out due to the heavy floods occurred over there. Many landslides was taking place. So the flow of excess, what do you mean by flood? The flow of excess of water in a river is called a flood. Flood occurs due to the two reasons, that is heavy rain in the upper course of a river, and second, if a dam on river breaks, flood occurs in the low-lying areas on the river bank. So due to the heavy rains due to the heavy rains, the dams, the check dams and the rivers the plates have been broken, and the water comes inside the whole city also, right, and inside the whole city. So the floods are being occurring in that place. You can just see floods are also a natural disasters, because due to the heavy rains, we get the rains, but it should be normal. And if the we always pray for a good rain, right? Excessive rain is also not good, because due to the excessive rains, floods occur, and due to the floods, many destruction has been taken place, and so that it won't be possible for us to again have a normal life, right? You can just see the name of the river, Ganga Yamuna, in the North India. In the year 1978 it had occurred the flood. Machu Morbi, that was the worst ever. The dam, Machu dam, had broken, and the whole Morbi Machu dam, the whole Morbi city was cleared out with the flood in the year 1979. Tapi, river Tapi, the flood affected was Surat in the year 2006. Koshi in Bihar, that is in the year 2008 also, they had a very massive floods. Kerala also, Uttarakhand also, many regions have experienced the flood situations. So this was the natural disasters. The flood, the destruction has been caused due to the floods. The next is famine. May we not experience famine anytime, my dear students, because this is one of the greatest due to the now I told you excessive rainfall is also not good, and low rainfall is also not good. Excessive rainfalls occurs floods, and if rainfall only is not there, we may experience famine. Why? Because if rainfall is not there, the production will not get a proper amount of water. The water will not percolate inside the earth, and so we will not get the proper production of the crop. If crop will not be there, there will be no selling of the vegetables and all, and if vegetables are not there, we may not eat, and so we may experience famine in the land, right? We will be without food and water. So the scanty rainfall leads to the drying up of the groundwater and the shortage of food and water. This condition is known as famine. So I told you that due to this shortage of food and water, we may experience this famine. The condition that is also known as drought, right? Drought or famine, that is one of the same thing. The condition of the famine occurs in case of scanty rainfall or no rainfall in 2 to 3 years successively. The possibility of famine is less if we plant more trees. Basically scanty rainfall, or we can just see that if there are no rainfalls for consecutively 2 to 3 years, then famine occurs. Otherwise famine is hardly occurring, but in now consecutively 2 to 3 years we are experiencing heavy rainfall over it. Only the destruction has been taking place. Famine is a different thing. It is not possible now within the through many years famine, and may we not see famine also, but the condition what we are facing today, that is a proper rainfall is there, so we may not occur famine, we may not experience the famine also. But if we plant more trees, if the plantation of the trees are more, famine we can avoid the natural disaster of famine, like famine. So basically if we get the more trees brings rain, as we all know, and so the famine will not occur. The another thing, that is a cyclone. Cyclone is a very destructive, that is also one of the basic natural disasters. These are the disasters on the surface of the earth, due to the surface of the earth, right? So the simple meaning of cyclone is air which blows at a very great speed. It can be called a storm or a whirlwind. The coastal areas of India experiences cyclone every year. Every year the cyclone has been occurring, and recently we have seen the cyclone Amphan, cyclone Fani. It has been occurred over in the Maharashtra, and basically in all these regions different types of cyclones they have been occurred over here, especially the coastal areas. Coastal areas occurs more cyclone. They are prone to more coastal areas. The eastern coast especially experiences it every year. The adjacent regions also feel the effects of cyclone when it is the highest intensity. However, these winds affect a limited area for a limited period of time only. These cyclones are for only for a limited period, that it will not occur for a long period of time, but that also the nearby areas are there, we may experience the wind. Yes, if it in the eastern part or the northern part or the western part, we also living in the western part, we also experiences the winds can be little bit at faster. Yes, the intensity of the wind is faster than the normal we experience in here over in the western area, but the cyclones maybe at that side, when Maharashtra had experiences that cyclone, we had also some of the intensity of wind, but not that much. We were not having any destruction, but the Maharashtra state was having a huge destruction due to the cyclone. You can just see over it how the coconut trees and everything, the people who are living near the low-lying coastal areas, that is totally being devastated, right? So that is also one of the basic thing. The cyclone which causes, cyclone is also it's not also good. There are also destruction and everything, the human life have to suffer over it. So that cyclone also, the pictures are there over it. It's a very, very common thing. Cyclone we all know, it's being occurred and we have experienced also these cyclones. The next thing, forest fire. Now my dear students, as we all know, repeatedly we are telling it that we have to plant the trees. Deforestation should not be there, afforestation should be there, right? So we have to plant the trees. Deforestation means the cutting down the trees and burning the trees, and this forest fire are occurring. Why? Because there is a friction between dry branches of the trees and other factors cause fire. It causes a great amount of damage to the forest resources. So we all know that due to some of the factors, due to some of the or the friction of the branches, it may cause fire, right? And so the whole fire, may cause the fire in the Africa also, the Amazon, the whole forest was under the fire. So that was, if the forests are under the fire, how we are going to get the medicinal herbs, my dear students? How we are going to have, because forest gives us many things. Forest provides many things which are being helpful to us, to the human life, and if that is only burnt, how we are going to experience such a good rainfall, how we are going to experience the good herbs, the Ayurvedic medicines which are being obtained from the forest. We cannot obtain such benefits from that. So if it is our prime duty that we should even plant. That's why we are always celebrating the 5th June, that is the Environment Day, the planting of the trees, so that we will get good rains and good fresh air, because due to the forest many people are being benefited, many trees are there with benefits to us for the human life. But sometimes it may, due to any of the factors, due to the wars, due to any of the thing, or due to the friction forces, it may causes fire. Lot of destruction takes place, and when forests are being destroyed, definitely it will occur, the huge damage will occur to the animal extinct, because the animals who are living in the forest, they will also suffer. Many animals may die also. Yes, so that they are also having lives. Yes, animals are also having lives, so they also want to live, so they will move from one place to another. So the forest fire, this is also one of the greatest thing over it. This shouldn't happen over it, but due to many factors, forest fire are occurring. And the last, this is landslide. Now landslide, what do you mean by landslide? The sliding of large mass of rock material, soil, down the side of the mountain or cliff is termed as landslide. Two factors cause landslide: excessive rainfall or the earthquake. For example, in the rainy season, the railway transportation in the Konkan gets obstructed due to the landslide. So we all know that the two reasons can be that the excessive rainfall. Recently there was a landslide in the Maharashtra state. Yes, the highway, the whole landslide was there. Why? Because Maharashtra, Mumbai has experienced a very much heavy rainfall over it, and so the landslide had been occurred over there. The most basic landslide we can know, the Konkan railway. When you go towards the Kerala and the Goa side, the trains, Konkan trains, the railway tracks are there. that is basically the mountainous regions, and due to this heavy rainfall, the mountains, some of the rocks are coming down. You can just see in the picture over it, the higher level regions are being broken, and so it comes down. So that is known as a landslide. So the sliding, the whole thing comes down. Even in the Uttarakhand at that time, when they had the floods, the landslide had occurred. Even when we are experiencing the high rainfall, the landslides are occurring. So that is known as a landslide. I hope that you all understood this chapter very much nicely. We got a lot of information from this chapter, that forest and landslide and earthquakes and volcanoes. It's very interesting chapter, and I hope that you will learn it very much nicely. I'll be giving you the question and answers in the workbook. Write it neatly. Till then, stay safe. Thank you very much, my dear students, and have a nice day.